At my ex's engagement party, her father drunkenly announced, "Thank God she's marrying up, not some nobody like Dylan." Everyone laughed, even her. What they didn't know? The groom's entire company depended on a secret multi-million-dollar defense contract. And I was the guy holding the final signature. Tomorrow, I was going to publicly gut every last one of them. The last time I stepped foot in Spring Hill, Texas, I was 22, dead broke and freshly dumped. Now, at 29, I pulled up to the Crosswind Country Club in a matte black Hellcat, custom-tuned and paid for in full. My boots hit the pavement, and I knew this wasn't a visit. This was a reckoning. The invitation had come wrapped in fake sincerity. "You're welcome to come, Dylan. No hard feelings." It was from her mom, the same woman who once told me I was a speed bump on Delaney's road to success. I framed that message, literally. I hadn't planned on showing up until fate dropped a nuclear-grade irony in my lap. 2 weeks ago, my defense tech firm signed a classified contract with the exact company Delaney's new fiancé worked for, Strathmore Dynamics, a firm dangling on the edge of collapse unless we approved Phase 2 of integration. And the liaison? Yours truly. You ever taste karma so pure it makes your teeth hurt? Anyway, I walked in wearing a dark gray tailored suit, no tie. Just clean lines and sharp edges, confidence, purpose, and a watch that cost more than the average monthly mortgage in this zip code. I wasn't here to start drama, but if drama kicked up dust, I wasn't going to walk around it either. The ballroom glowed with fake luxury, gold-trimmed everything, string quartet, crab cakes no one actually wanted to eat. The crowd? Every influencer wannabe, banker uncle, and Botoxed socialite you could imagine. And then her, Delaney, standing at the center of the world in a silk champagne dress, clinging to her soon-to-be husband, Brent Holloway. He looked like he was manufactured by Goldman Sachs. Smug, clean-shaven. That jawline could cut sheet metal. Delaney's eyes met mine. She froze, and then, like the ice queen she always played, she recovered in 2 seconds flat. Smile. Wink. A graceful pivot away like I was part of the scenery. It was almost cute. Almost. Then her father, Joe Treadwell, approached. The mic. The man looked like a peach that spent too long in the sun. Red, bloated, and full of southern ego. "We're gathered here today to celebrate not just love," he slurred, waving his tumbler of bourbon, "but growth. Our Delaney, well, let's just say she's made better choices lately." Laughter. "Brent comes from a good family, strong stock. Not like, well, you know, some folks waste time on dead-end dreams and low-rent startups." Eyes flicked toward me. "That's all in the past," he boomed. "She's marrying into real opportunity now." Delaney smiled like it didn't gut me. Brent leaned in and kissed her hand, and I smiled too. They had no clue. No idea the man they'd tried to laugh out of existence now held the pen that could bankrupt Brent's company, tank his career, and destroy their golden future. I didn't need revenge. I was revenge in a blazer and 5-star Pentagon clearance. But I didn't move. Not yet. The real show was tomorrow, Monday, the final Phase 2 clearance review at Strathmore HQ. They had requested it in person. Brent would be there with his executive team. And so would I, under my official title, DoD Contract Oversight Director, Cyber Operations Division. I had 2 signatures left before the company's software could integrate with military systems. They thought I was just some guy Delaney used. To date. They were about to learn I was the man who held their future in a folder marked Top Priority, Classified. Back at the hotel, I ordered room service and opened the file. Strathmore's pitch was clean. I'll give them that. Brent's name was all over the executive summary. A proud lead on development. The problem? His code was sloppy, his projections overly optimistic, and worst of all, he lied. The metadata flagged discrepancies. I highlighted everything. Red. Ink bled through the pages. Tomorrow I wasn't just going to deny the contract. I was going to expose him in front of his CEO, his board, his fiancé. And maybe, just maybe, he'd finally realize what real failure looks like. The morning sun rose like a war drum. I arrived 15 minutes early. Press badge, laptop, pinstripe suit, no smile. Security waved me through like royalty. The front desk manager, a jittery intern, nearly spilled his latte when he read the clearance level on my ID. "Mr. Kane? Dylan Kane. You're here for the Phase 2 review, right? The team's assembling upstairs." I nodded. "Lead the way." We stepped into the elevator. Floor 17, Executive Conference Suite. Doors opened, and there they were. Brent, Delaney, the board, and one seat at the head of the table, reserved 4. Me, Brent's face drained of color like he'd just seen a ghost. I adjusted my sleeve cuff, placed my file on the table, and locked eyes with him. Let's begin. Brent's jaw clenched. His hands, gripping a tablet, trembled slightly. I watched him squirm. Delicious. Dylan, he stammered, trying to recover. I didn't realize you were the Pentagon liaison. Oh, I said, flipping open the folder with slow precision. That's right. You've been emailing my assistant. I'm the one who signs off your dreams. The CEO, Pamela Langford, early 60s, ice in her veins, arched a brow. You two know each other? Brent cleared his throat, voice shaky. Yeah. College friends. College friends? Was that what he called cheating on Delaney with her sorority sister and blaming me to cover it up? Cute. Pamela turned to me. Mr. Kane, please, let's begin. I nodded and connected my laptop to the conference screen. Of course. Let's talk about the reason we're here. Or more accurately, why we might not be back. Click. The first slide lit up the screen. Phase 2 review. Compliance violations and security risk assessment. I let the silence marinate. Brent shifted in his seat. His forehead was damp. The Department of Defense requires clean, airtight code for all cybersecurity integrations, especially for infrastructure involving base-level comms. I clicked. Again. Unfortunately, that's not what we found. A red highlighted diagram popped up. Source code anomalies. Unresolved patches. Non-compliant access protocols. All Brent's responsibility. Pamela's face darkened. What exactly are we looking at, Mr. Kane? I didn't blink. Code flagged with potential backdoors. Encryption, mismatches. And worst of all, ghost variables traced back to an outdated, unvetted protocol. If deployed as is, this system could be compromised within days. Brent tried to speak. I raised a hand. No, Brent. I let you talk in college when you threw me under the bus. I'm not doing that again. Pamela leaned forward, voice tight. Are you saying our VP submitted compromised software to the Pentagon? I turned to her. Yes, ma'am. And I have the logs, timestamps, and internal emails to prove it. Brent stood. This is a hit job. He's doing this because of Delaney. Delaney, sitting in the corner next to Brent's assistant, looked like someone had slapped her with a cold fish. I didn't even turn to him. I'm doing my job. You just happen to be the idiot trying to sneak garbage into a national defense system. If I signed off on this and it failed, soldiers could die. You think this is personal? I think you should be prosecuted. Pamela rose from her seat. Brent, sit down. He sat, slowly. The color had drained from his face. I continued. This contract's value is $740 million. Phase 2 alone. If I flag this as compromised, Strathmore loses everything, permanently, and if the DoD decides it was willful negligence... Pamela didn't need me to finish that sentence. She knew the implications. She turned to Brent, her voice like ice. Did you falsify the compliance report? Brent opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Answer the question. I delegated it to the team. I didn't read the full... You didn't read it? Pamela shouted. You signed a federal-level document and didn't read the content. She whipped her head toward me. Mr. Kane, do what you need to do. I nodded. Effective immediately, this contract is frozen pending review. Brent Holloway will not have access to any further correspondence. Your team will resubmit Phase 2 through proper security protocols. Any delay or misstep will terminate the agreement permanently. Brent launched out of his chair. You can't do this. You're just a glorified tech nerd with a badge. Pamela's voice cut through the room like a blade. He is the federal authority keeping this company afloat. Then, she turned to me and smiled. Actually, Mr. Kane, would you like to join us as an external cybersecurity advisor for the remainder of the project? I smiled back. I'd be honored. Boom. Explosion delivered. Brent's knees practically buckled. Delaney's hands flew to her mouth. This was beyond humiliation. This was extinction. Pamela dismissed the meeting with a wave. We'll be in touch, Dylan. Thank you for protecting our future. Pleasure's mine. I gathered my folder, and just as I reached the door, Delaney whispered behind me, Dylan, wait. I paused, turned slowly. She approached, her voice shaking. You didn't have to go this far. I blinked. No, but you did. Years ago, when you let your father humiliate me, and you stood by and let me take the blame for Brent's lies. Tears brimmed in her eyes. I didn't know you were this important. I laughed. Sharp. Cold. Delaney, you still don't. And I walked out. I didn't sleep that night, not out of guilt. Hell no. but because adrenaline still pulsed through my veins like battery acid. The memory of Brent's face, his jaw twitching, eyes darting, skin pale, looped in my mind like a victory anthem. I destroyed him, in front of everyone, and I hadn't even broken a sweat. But it wasn't over. Oh no, not yet. At 8 a.m. sharp, my work phone buzzed. A secure message from Pamela Langford. Brent Holloway suspended indefinitely. Internal audit begins today. Delaney Treadwell requested a meeting with you. Your call. I stared at the message, stunned for a moment. Delaney wanted to meet? Of course she did. When the ship starts sinking, rats swim. I debated ignoring it, but curiosity got the better of me. What could she possibly want now? An apology? A hug? A second chance? Ha, I texted back. I'll give her 30 minutes. Public place. No drama. At 10:02 a.m., I walked into the Heartwood Cafe, a clean, overpriced brunch spot downtown. I spotted her instantly. She was seated by the window, in oversized sunglasses, sipping something with too much foam. She stood when she saw me. Dylan. I nodded, but didn't offer a hug. Just sat. Her voice cracked. I didn't know Brent was doing that. The code. The cover-up. I swear. I raised a brow. Really? You didn't see the confidential printouts in your shared apartment? The emails? You lived with the guy. Her lip trembled. I never looked. I trusted him. I laughed under my breath. Just like you trusted him when he cheated on you sophomore year? Her expression froze. Oh, that's right. You knew about that one, I said, leaning in. You just pretended I was the problem. I was young, she snapped. And stupid. I believed him when he said you were jealous and lying. Because that was easier, I cut in. Easier than admitting your boyfriend was a liar. Easier than facing that you picked the wrong guy. Tears filled her eyes. But I wasn't moved. Not anymore. I didn't come here to fight, she whispered. I needed to understand. How did you become this? The guy with clearance, contracts, power? You mean the guy who isn't a waste of time? I said, mimicking her dad's drunken toast. I became this because you all made me believe I had nothing, so I built everything. She was silent. For once. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. I'm pregnant, she said. Time stopped. What? Her voice shook. I just found out. I'm 5 weeks. Brent doesn't know. I don't want his name attached to my child. Not anymore. I stared at her like she'd grown horns. Wait. Are you seriously telling me this? Why? Why now? Why me? She reached across the table. Because I don't want my child raised by a man who lies, cheats, and throws people under buses. And the only man who ever truly cared about me was you. I pulled my hand back like she burned me. Oh, no. No. You don't get to rewrite the script now. You left me in the dirt while your family laughed in my face. She blinked. I'm not asking for money or anything. I just thought you deserved to know. Because if you still feel anything, stop. My voice dropped to a whisper. You used to see me as beneath you. Now I'm above your fiancé, your father, your friends, and your fallback plan. But you didn't reach out to make peace. I leaned forward, eyes locked on hers. You reached out because I have power. And Brent doesn't. She sat back, stunned, speechless. I stood, dropping $100 bill on the table. For the latte and the damage, I turned to walk away. And then I stopped just before the door. By the way, I said over my shoulder, I already filed a formal report with the Pentagon. Brent's role in the contract breach will be investigated by federal authorities. This won't just kill his job. It might end with an indictment. I pushed open the door. And Delaney? She looked up slowly, mascara streaking down her cheeks. If it's a girl, don't name her after yourself. That afternoon, the news dropped like a pipe bomb in a glass factory. Strathmore VP, suspended pending federal investigation. DOD confirms oversight failures in cybersecurity deal. Anonymous insider suggests contract may be revoked entirely. Anonymous. Insider? That was me. I didn't need credit. The truth was loud enough. By 5 p.m., Brent's face, usually smug, spray-tanned, and groomed to Wall Street perfection, was plastered across financial blogs, Reddit threads, and even a tech satire page that photoshopped his mug onto a sinking ship. Poetic justice? No. This was symphonic. I was reviewing security reports when my personal phone lit up like Vegas at midnight. Unknown number. I didn't answer. It called again. Then again, on the fourth try, I picked up. Dylan, what the hell did you do? It was Brent. Furious, panicked, and totally unhinged. I didn't do anything, I said, calm as a glacier. You falsified documents. You pushed unvetted code. I just exposed it. They're talking about indictments. My career, my entire fucking life is going up in flames. I leaned back in my chair. Then maybe you shouldn't have lied to the Pentagon? You did this to get back at me. Over Delaney. No, I said. I did it because you're incompetent and dangerous, and because men like you have been getting away with this crap for too damn long. There was a pause, then a snarl. She came to you, didn't she? My silence said enough. You think you've won? You think you're the hero now? I chuckled darkly. No, Brent, I'm not the hero. I'm the fucking reckoning. I hung up, but the storm wasn't over. 2 hours later, I got an alert. Attempted breach on my private server. Really, Brent? A sloppy, desperate hack attempt traced back to his home IP. Amateur hour. I didn't report it, yet, but I made damn sure it was logged. That file would sit neatly in my in case of retaliation folder, time-stamped and ready. Then came the next wave, Delaney's parents. Ooh, that was rich. Joe Treadwell, the same man who humiliated me publicly, called my office. Mr. Kane, he began, syrupy with fake professionalism. This is Joe Treadwell. I was hoping we could speak privately, man to man. I almost choked on my coffee. Mr. Treadwell, I said. I believe the last thing you called me was a nobody. What changed? A pause. Then the flattery began. You've clearly built something remarkable, and as a father, I can admit I misjudged you. We all make mistakes. Oh, now he wanted humility? You didn't misjudge me, I said coldly. You dismissed me because I didn't come. From money? Didn't have your connections. You decided I was worthless before I even had a chance to prove you wrong. I'd like to make amends, he offered. A dinner, perhaps? Rebuild the relationship? No. Simple. Direct. Delaney is going through a hard time, he added, tone shifting to guilt. She could really use a friend. She needs a therapist, I replied. Not a man she once humiliated. And I hung up. But guess who called next? Pamela Langford. Only this time she wasn't angry. She was impressed. We're terminating Brent's contract officially, she said. HR's coordinating the announcement. I want you to sit in on the executive hiring committee permanently. I blinked. You're serious? As a heart attack. You're sharp, calm under fire, and brutally effective. I like that. And Strathmore needs more people like you, not fewer. Suddenly, the man they laughed at became the one they were, begging to keep around. Later that evening, while sipping whiskey in my hotel suite, I got a message. From Delaney. I'm sorry. I meant everything I said. I know I hurt you, but please, don't let my family ruin what we had. I stared at that text like it was radioactive. What we had? What we had was long dead, buried, and torched. But then, another message followed. Photo. An ultrasound. And below it, 8 weeks today, I'm keeping her. Boom. My stomach twisted. It wasn't just theoretical anymore. There was a human being now. Flesh, blood, DNA. Possibly mine. Was she telling the truth? Was this some wild ploy to guilt me into rekindling something? Or was it real? I stared at that image for a long time. Then I set the phone down. Suddenly, I didn't feel victorious. I felt haunted. Because no matter how much I burned Brent's world to ash, a part of mine might be growing inside the woman who helped destroy me, and I had no idea what the hell I was going to do about it. I couldn't shake it. The image of that ultrasound haunted me. 8 weeks, a heartbeat, a potential life. With my DNA, my gut screamed no. My brain, it demanded proof. I wasn't going to be manipulated. Not again. Not by Delaney. But what if... No, I picked up the phone and called a name I hadn't said in years. Nina Worthen. She was a private investigator I used back when a former employee tried to steal proprietary code from our firm. Ruthless, fast, discreet. Nina, I said. I need a full background check on a woman named Delaney Treadwell. Medical records, travel history, anything recent. And I need it fast. How fast? She asked. Yesterday. Click. It was 3:00 a.m. in chess, but I didn't sleep. I just sat on the balcony of my hotel room, staring out over a city I once escaped from. Funny how it kept trying to pull me back in. By noon the next day, Nina delivered. Her voice was sharp, professional. She had a blood test at Valley Diagnostics 2 weeks ago. Confirmed pregnancy. 7 weeks at the time. That tracks. Did she say who the father was? I asked, heartbeat in my throat. She did. And you're not listed. Silence. She listed Brent. Boom. Just like that, the air returned to my lungs. I wasn't the father. I wasn't trapped. I wasn't tethered to that woman forever. She's lying, I muttered. She's trying to manipulate me. Nina confirmed it. That ultrasound she sent you, it's real, but it was cropped. I got the full version. The name on the image file? Delaney Treadwell, Holloway. I almost laughed, not from joy, from disbelief. How far would she go? Lie about a child? Pretend I was the father to reel me back in? I felt sick, but also free. Now I had a choice. Stay quiet, or finish what I started. I chose the second. I called Pamela Langford. I need 20 minutes at the executive roundtable next week, I told her. Done, she said without hesitation. Something else coming? You could say that. 3 days later, I stood in front of a glass boardroom table overlooking downtown Houston. Executives, board members, consultants, all seated, including Brent. He looked like roadkill in a suit, pale, disheveled, bags under his eyes. Still somehow trying to hold on to dignity he'd long since lost. Delaney wasn't there. Good. I cleared my throat. Before we begin, I want to address a personal matter that has now crossed into professional territory. Whispers. Eyes locked. On me. I've received multiple communications from Delaney Treadwell regarding a child she claims is mine. Brent's head snapped up. Shock on his face. She sent me an ultrasound. Told me she was keeping the baby. Implying I had responsibilities. More gasps, I continued. Calm. Measured. Devastating. I launched a formal investigation. Medical records confirm she is pregnant. But the child is not mine. Everyone went still. She listed Brent Holloway as the father. Brent stood so fast. His chair toppled. That's a lie! She told me she was on birth control. She said it wasn't mine. Apparently, I said, voice cold, she also told me it was mine. Someone murmured. Jesus Christ! Pamela stood, glaring at Brent. Is this true? I didn't know, he stammered. She told me after the party I thought it was a scare. Pamela's voice was pure venom. You lied on federal contracts and got your fiancée pregnant while covering up both. You think you're qualified to run a security division? He tried to speak, but no sound came. I turned to the board. I have no interest in dragging this into a scandal, but if her lies continue, I'll release the documents. I'll expose everything, because I will not be used as leverage by a family who once laughed in my face. No one said a word, and then Pamela nodded. Motion to revoke all remaining stock options and ban Brent Holloway from any Strathmore site. Seconded, came a voice. Approved, another added. It was over, done, destroyed. After the meeting, Brent caught me in the hallway. You think you won? You ruined my career, my reputation, my relationship. No, I said. You did that. I just shined a light on it. His voice cracked. She was supposed to be mine, and she still wanted you. I didn't flinch. She never really wanted either of us, I said. She just wanted power. He slumped against the wall, broken, and I walked away, out of the building, into the light. Free. Finally, completely, irrevocably, free. 6 weeks passed. 6 weeks since Brent's meltdown. Since Delaney vanished from every social feed like she'd never existed. Since I officially joined Strathmore as their senior cybersecurity advisor, with a 6-figure signing bonus and direct, DoD liaison access. I'd won publicly, professionally, unquestionably, but something still buzzed in the back of my skull. That old itch. The part of me that remembered every laugh they had at my expense. Every dismissive look. Every backhanded, you're not good enough. So I planned one final move. Not revenge. Legacy. It started with a call to Pamela Langford. I want to sponsor an initiative, I told her. What kind? A full-ride STEM scholarship for low-income students. Under one condition, it's named after someone. She smiled. Let me guess. You? No, I said. Someone better. Someone who bet on me when no one else did. Because before I was Dylan Kane, DOD hammer of judgment, I was just a broke teen trying to make it through school, and the only person who ever gave me a shot was Ms. Laura Hennigan, my high school science teacher. She bought me my first graphing calculator, helped me apply to college, wrote the letter that landed me my first internship. Pamela approved the program instantly. The Laura Hennigan Cyber Fellowship launched 2 weeks later. National news picked it up. I made sure Ms. Hennigan got all the credit. She cried during the Zoom interview. So did I. That moment? That was real power. Not humiliating enemies, but lifting someone who deserved to shine. Then came the real twist, one I never saw coming. I was speaking at a tech summit in Austin when Pamela pulled me aside backstage. She looked amused. We got a package this morning, she said, addressed to you. No return label. She handed it to me. Flat. Thin. A manila envelope. I opened it. Inside, a letter. From Delaney. I hesitated, then read. Dylan, I know you probably hate me. I don't blame you. I lied. I manipulated. I used you. But I wanted to say something I never said back then. Thank you. Not just for what you did to Brent, but for proving me wrong. You made something of yourself. I didn't. I've left Texas. I'm starting over somewhere far away, alone. The baby. She's not yours, but she deserves better than what I gave her. So I've decided to place her for adoption. A family that can give her everything I never could. You're not just the man I should have chosen. You're the man I hope she meets someday and thinks, that's the kind of person I want to become. Goodbye. Delaney, I didn't know how to feel. Anger? Closure? Relief? No, it wasn't any of those. It was peace. I folded the letter, slid it back into the envelope, and tucked it inside my jacket. Sometimes life doesn't end with clean lines or epic revenge speeches. Sometimes the loudest moments happen in silence. Later that week, I returned to Spring Hill. One last time. Not for Delaney, not for Brent, but for me. I parked in front of the same diner I used to get kicked out of for ordering coffee and using their Wi-Fi. The same booth where I'd written my first code draft. The same parking lot where Delaney's father once called me a loser. I walked in. Heads turned. Some recognized me, most didn't. Didn't matter. I took a seat. The waitress walked over. What'll it be, honey? Black coffee. And a Texas Toast BLT, she smiled. Coming right up. And for the first time in years, I smiled back. Because I wasn't here to prove anything anymore. Not to Delaney, not to her father, not even to myself. I'd already done that, 10 times over. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my inbox. New message. Subject, Hennigan Scholar Finalists, meet the top 5. I opened it, photos, bios, dreams written in hopeful words by students who reminded me of me. I tapped one. Raya Alvarez. Age 17. Houston. Wants to build firewalls to protect her immigrant community from identity theft. She wrote, I want to be the kind of person who protects people, even if they don't know they need it. I smiled again and whispered to myself, that's the legacy, not petty revenge, not old flames, not power. Legacy. I lifted my coffee cup in a silent toast. To the boy I used to be, to the man I'd become, and to every person who ever got told they were nothing, only to rise and become everything. And here it is, the finale of today's story. Did everything turn out as you imagined, or did it end unexpectedly? I'd love to hear what you think. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and let's dive into the discussion together. If this story kept you in suspense, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? This is your chance to join an incredible community where exciting new stories unfold every day. Click the subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay up to date. Thanks for your attention and see you on your new adventures.